In conclusion, my suggested solution of the synoptic question leads to a very different assessment of the Gospels than is common to scholarship today. One of the results of this new way of looking at the story is the anachronous fact that we can see far more divergence between Matthew, Mark, and Luke, but especially between Mark and Luke than ever before. Yet this disparity is of much less serious a nature than scholars have heretofore supposed. Only one writer is the principal cause of the divergence, and his literary method of dramatizing, replacing and exchanging words and expressions, does not suggest that he has special theological interests. We see more disparity, but it means less. Mark's methods may be very foreign to us, but they are common in the Jewish literary genre known as midrash. When we comprehend the synoptic relationships in this way, we have no further need to apologize for the seeming shakiness of the basic gospel account. The story is sound. We have nearly 200 excellent story and sayings units, and these cover all but about 5% of our total synoptic material. The historical character of the earliest account is assured by the remarkable Hebraic Greek materials of Luke and Matthew. Even the minor agreements of Matthew and Luke against Mark demonstrate the value of the earlier sources. In the original story, there is theology, there is eschatology, there is Christology. It rings with the sonance of Hebrew. Jesus' teaching, translated to Hebrew, takes on new meaning as tiny hints of Old Testament context are revived. His conversations teem with terminology taken from the rabbis and sometimes Qumran. Jesus himself heals like Elisha but forgives like the Son of God. He exorcises demons treading on the head of the serpent. He searches for the sinner and the outcast as the God of Ezekiel sought for and delivered the lost sheep of Israel. He prophesies, challenges, preaches, and exhorts as did the God of the prophets. The story is laconic, brief, non dramatic, like all Hebrew narrative, and cannot therefore be understood completely in Greek or in any later translation, but it is basically sound. Jesus is from Nazareth, but comes to the Jordan and Judea to identify with John's baptism of repentance. He goes back to Galilee, as Luke says alone, to teach and heal in the little Blackstone synagogues. His fame spreads and he returns to Judea for a teaching period. When he arrives again in Galilee, he begins to call for those who will itinerate with him, and later chooses 12 from them. He sends them out to preach that the kingdom has come with his appearance to heal and to exorcise demons. He teaches his disciples and begins to prophesy of his own rejection in Jerusalem. Finally, he makes a last journey to Jerusalem. The things that happen in this city are given in much detail. He is crucified and buried, but is resurrected. After his resurrection, he talks to these who have been with him in his trials. Luke 22:28 warns them, bids them farewell, tells them to wait for God's coming new direction. He ultimately leaves them as he ascends to heaven from the Mount of Olives. This is the story that still is a story. It is Hebrew biography at its best, despite the obvious apocopation and pericope realignment. Our writers have been forced to make, if we study it sufficiently and use the right tools as we do so, it will yield its treasures like a rediscovered cave full of scrolls in a dry wadi.